If you have been looking for a more intelligent take on Starlink in South Africa and Elon Musk, then you have arrived on the right video. Why? Because I am the most qualified person to talk about this. I have installed more than 1,000 Starlinks across Africa. I have also lived in South Africa. I grew up there, so I know the environment. And I have the facts. So if you go online, you will get two types of people. You get those like Elon Musk himself and other people that are pushing this narrative that South Africa rejects Musk, claim Starlink can't operate there because he's not black. This is not true. But you also have another narrative that says something like, well, Elon is racist. Therefore, we don't need Starlink here. He can go to America with his Starlink. We don't want it here. We have MTN and we also have Vodacom. Now, these people, both of these clubs of people are extremely uninformed. That's why you should watch this video. So first, let's first establish a basic understanding of what Starlink is. Everybody understands the internet, and what they don't understand is how it works, the infrastructure. So as much as we all use Wi-Fi and the internet feels wireless, it's basically a highly wired system. So let's imagine we want to go to South Africa and we want to install internet in some village in the Eastern Cape. You know what happens? The internet runs a cable throughout the ocean. Boom, let's say I'm in Dubai now, so I can run a cable. We can run a cable all the way from Dubai to South Africa. This is how we can connect these two nations so fast. So as we speak right now, we have a huge amount of cables across the oceans to connect all of us around. And then after that, we have a connection point and we distribute these cables through smaller cables, right? So that's why we have optic fiber. Optic fiber is running through the cables into your home, into your office. And we also have other methods of connectivity. We have LTE. That's why the Vodacom and MTN in South Africa, they have all these towers, or you see some towers in the top of the buildings, you know, different kind of connection types to make sure we have a much more connected world to live in, a much more functional internet service, but also phone service. Now, I need you to consider this. Just imagine how much it costs to connect a small village in, let's take a small village somewhere in Polokwane, right? Let's take a place that is extremely small and also remote. So let's say we want to connect this area to the internet, okay? Makatiane. We have Makatiane here. We want to connect it to the internet. If there's no internet connection there, it means the internet has to come from the city center, which is more likely to be connected. Now, if this is, let's say, 200 kilometers, we need to run 200 kilometers worth of wire, of fiber wire from Polokwane to this village that we want to connect to. Imagine how expensive that is, because it costs them about $27,000 to $50,000 to run per kilometer to run cables. So just imagine if we're talking about 200 kilometers to send fiber optic to this small village. And obviously, the majority of people in this village are poor, so nobody really cares to install internet there, because if they invest $6 million just to get internet there, and the people are not in high volume, you know, it's a low population area, low density, it means that they can't, and they're poor, it means that the company that will invest will not make their return on time. So nobody cares about giving internet to these people. And now we're living in an age of AI and crypto. Technology is changing really fast. The people in this area will never really get a chance. They might have some MTN and other internet service providers, the traditional internet providers. It's going to be just good enough for them to browse social media. That's it. even that is very expensive for them. Now, let's look at how Starlink works. With Starlink, there are no cables. It's a constellation of satellites in upper Earth's orbit. So imagine every dot here is a Starlink satellite, right? It's so many of them because SpaceX has just been deploying them like it's nothing, since the cost to launch rockets have now been so low historically because of SpaceX. And these satellites connect together and they create a mesh wire, a wire mesh of some sort, and they're able to provide us with internet, which means the people in this village that we're looking at, whenever they need an internet right now, all they have to do is to buy a Starlink dish, similar to a DSTV dish, plug into power, boom, they have first world internet than ever before. Maybe this level of internet would have taken them 20 years in their area to get it. Now they have the same access. So I'm in Dubai right now. Someone with a Starlink in a small village in South Africa or anywhere else in Africa, and they now have the same quality of internet like me, who is in Dubai. And everyone else in America, in the UK, even better, because even in the US, in most places, in my experience, the internet is terrible, the internet connection. So that is what Starlink is presenting. Now, let's talk about the second subject of the politics of it. Obviously, we all understand Starlink is a big deal because it doesn't require the government to invest any money. They don't have to give up any land or to sort of go through a process of digging holes just to connect anyone. It's plug and play, similar to DSTV. I'm sure you get that. So you can imagine how much of a big deal it is for poor countries and small villages and all that. And then also another discussion of cost of, but Starlink is expensive. It'll cost you about 12,000 Rand maybe to just get the device. Well, that's true. But you know what you can do? 10 families can come together, or a small village can come together and say, we want to install internet here and it will cost us $30 per month. We have to come together, contribute, and then we have internet for our children. I think that's a viable way to do it as well. So it's not one device, one family. It's not like that. You can have one Starlink and use it through a few families. So in the township where I grew up, it means that if you have, let's say, 10 sharks on cuckoos, you can have 10 or 20 of them actually using the same internet because they're so densely installed or set up. Now, as for buying them, you can also have banks to come in and to do a deal. Banks can get involved and provide credit for people that want to have Starlink on a loan, similar to how we do it with iPhones. Not many people buy their smartphones on cash basis. They get a contract from MTN, from Vodacom, and they pay it off slowly. So Starlink can also have that kind of structure. And I have done this, by the way. I've installed Starlinks in some of the most remote places, in Malawi, in Zambia, for small businesses and also individuals out there. So I know this is real. Okay, now let's look at the politics of this. South Africa has laws. One of their laws is BEEE, which is Black Empowerment based laws that requires you as a foreign company, or if you want to operate as a service provider in South Africa, you need to give away at least 30% of your business to the previously disadvantaged, which is mostly black, but that also applies to the colored and the Indians in South Africa as well. Now, where the trick goes is that most companies obviously abide by this rule because they want the South African market. They see a gap. They're like, okay, cool, when I operate in South Africa, we have to give away 30% of our company. Boom, no problem. However, if you examine this model, you will be able to notice that everybody knows that South African government or the ANC is extremely corrupt. This 30% doesn't really go to the previously disadvantaged. It'll go to people that are already millionaires, they're politicians or they're connected to the politicians. It's a cabal or the cadres, they call themselves. Now, for someone who is bringing in a traditional normal business, like let's say if you're making clothing, well, you giving away 30% of your company to a random person who does not even know anything about the business you're doing, they will add no value whatsoever. It makes perfect sense. As long as you get the market share, 30% means nothing if you're going to make huge margins. But if you're someone like Elon Musk, who already has bias against the South African leadership for obvious reasons, corruption and so on and so forth, obviously you're going to have some attitudes towards them. And also you're bringing something that is very different. We have to be honest here. Now that you understand what Starlink can do and how different it is, you have to understand that Starlink is a game changer for the South African masses, because now they will be able to work online and so many other applications. Security levels, security will increase like crazy, because now you can have your CCTV at your home that's running 24/7 because you don't have to worry about data anymore. It's a big deal. Education will change completely, forever. And you bringing this kind of technology, I'm sure you definitely have the muscle to be like, hey guys, I have Starlink. You probably need this Starlink more than I need you. So I don't feel like abiding to your BEE rules, especially because I don't trust you. I feel like you're just a corrupt bunch of politicians. So I'm not going to do it. In a world of negotiation, this is normal, because when you're negotiating, you can only negotiate based on what cards you have. And in this negotiation, trust me, South Africa has everything to gain and very little to lose. Starlink, well, it has already the whole world. It's everywhere. In most African countries, it's there. It's in Asia, it's in America, it's in Europe. Big game changer for farmers and all that. So they don't really have much to lose. And if you think you can be tough at negotiating in that kind of deal, then you're being delusional. Now, if you think that Elon Musk is racist, that's a whole different discussion. Him being racist does not mean that Starlink won't work in South Africa. It still works. Newsflash, you can still use technology or tools of people that are racist. You do it every day. So stop pretending. And the fact that someone is racist in this kind of conversation is not that helpful, because, again, think about how many people will be affected if Starlink is approved and they get unlimited internet. Imagine the education that they will get from that, the value, the businesses that will be created from this. On the other hand, you also have to understand that part of the reason why Starlink is being blocked is because the MTNs and the Vodacom don't want it there, because it will steal their lunch. And they have been very complacent for so many years. The data in South Africa is among the most expensive, and the service is no longer that great anymore, that they can't really compete when Starlink gets launched. Now, the big boys at the top, the cadres, they might say, oh yeah, but we can't be destroying our own local businesses. Yeah, but to be honest, local South Africans get very little value from those businesses. All the profits are enjoyed by a corrupt few most of the time. And there is this unhealthy monopoly that makes it even harder for anyone to compete. So the only way to dismantle that kind of system is to have a Starlink at play. So I would like people to approach this. The reason I'm making this video is to just put more awareness of what Starlink really is, because there's a huge misconception of people comparing Starlink to MTN. And it's not the same, not even close, my friend. It's different. Starlink is a real game changer. And the rules of BEE and stuff like that, they're there. But I don't think when they were making them, they were even thinking about Starlink. They were thinking about, normal businesses. But now you have really, really innovative technology that you probably need the most. And there is the national security aspect of it that a lot of people would be like, oh, but, if Elon is not happy with us, they can just shut it down, or they can compromise our government and security. Then that is a valid concern, because we have seen what happened in Ukraine. But still, the solution can never be, let's not allow it. We don't care if it comes, because you're actually sacrificing lives and futures of millions of people ahead of you that could have benefited from this. Starlink does not mean that the other service providers won't exist. If government is worried about their security, they can say government will not be using Starlink. Government offices and government infrastructure, they can stick to MTN and Vodacom if they want, and Telecom. But for the regular citizens, or you can also put other measures, your own technology, to make sure that you're not being compromised. And you can introduce more competition. There are other companies now that are doing the same thing that Starlink is doing. I think there's a company in China that can come in and they have competition and because it's all satellite based, we might come to a point where we can use one satellite but switch the providers. I don't like Starlink this month, boom. I don't like Elon Musk anymore, switch from Starlink to another satellite provider using the same dish. So I think we can get to a future where even if we don't like Starlink, we can just switch to another service provider using the same technology. I think that's a more optimistic way to look at it. But the problem is that the politicians don't really understand all these things. When they think internet, they just think of social media. That's it. They think social media, email, whatever. Oh, I can use my email with MTN internet or Telecom at home. Well, I think I will just use that. No, it's not the same, sir. As someone who changed their life personally through the digital world, I can tell you how important it is to have full-time internet, unlimited at home, because I never had it. If I had, I could have made a lot more progress in my life if I had internet from a very, very young age. I just didn't have it. We had DSTV, but not internet. And now we have an opportunity to make sure that this kind of opportunity is available to a lot more people than ever before. I think that is bullish. So that is the truth about Starlink. Personally, I don't care about who is racist, who is not. I just care about progress and really things that are important in human life. The emotions, we can deal with that later. But for now, I think Starlink is a good idea. And it's going to be a huge mistake, regrettable, if the government of South Africa still let Starlink work because of their silly arguments that they're having. Obviously, rules are meant to be changed. If it requires removing the BEE laws, so be it. The only loser if BEE laws are removed on this deal will be the select corrupt few who get money from these deals because they give it to their families, all rich people already. The average South African citizen will lose absolutely nothing if BEE rules are not applied on this deal. Everybody knows that. So why defend all those corrupt politicians? Doesn't make sense. Okay, I just wanted to share that with you guys with my experience, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like the video, and see you next time.